Welcome to the latest episode of this week's Acca, sponsored by Skybet Acca Freeze. I'm Tom and joined by Jake, Jimmy and Joe to deliver our selections. Look, you know the drill by now. We're delivering multiple picks. We're looking around the 10-1 marker. We're also back from an international break, so we've got a full fixture list to get involved with. And as ever, let us know your thoughts in the comments all through Sports Live Football's social media channels. And remember, keep it fun. Never bet more than you can afford. This podcast is 18 plus. Please gamble responsibly. 14-1 winner last week in our new 4-person format. I think we've broken even for the season, regardless of what happens potentially on the 2 winners. Should we shake hands and call it a day now and just say we've had a great first part of the season and tell them that we can't lose? There you go.
No, I want more. Give me more. Yeah, we're coming into the part of the season as well where we've got more of a grasp of teams. So I'm not saying that we're going to deliver winner after winner after winner, but you know, you do probably get a bit more confident between now and Christmas, and then obviously the back end of the season where it starts to get a little bit dodgy again. But
it felt like
good.
It felt like the first week Acca. I don't want to go on too much about what we've done before because I want to get it really stuck into the latest one. But it felt like that was it. Swindon we were waiting on when they scored the second. Yeah. Every team was at least 2 goals ahead, and it was an incredibly relaxing 10 minutes. It's a rare thing in Acca betting. I'm sure you know, Jimmy.
Yeah, absolutely. As you know, I've not actually got the facilities to check the score. Watching Alfreton beat Macclesfield on Saturday.
Yeah, of course they did, didn't they?
Oh, yeah.
We've already eyed up another trip for the first round, and then it's a bit of a dud, isn't it? But it's a good chance, surely, to get to the second round, isn't it?
Absolutely, and then it's only one game away from the big dogs.
Oh, that would be good, wouldn't it? That would be good.
Superb.
You've been very quiet.
Yeah, I'm just having a little look, Tom, because the one thing I reckon we can probably get better at is that we're saying send us your comments, and people are doing. We're not the best at actually reading them out, are we?
Yeah, I tell you what, if you talk amongst yourselves, I'll get the social media platforms up and we'll go from there.
We're so excited to talk about the next week's Acca that we forget to actually say what people have been saying to us, which is either, you shit, why did you put them in this week? I didn't put them in and I won. I can do it better than you can. Or, cheers, lads, got a winner. Or there was someone whose name escapes me that messages this week saying that they did a boo-boo because they swapped one team out for another.
Yeah, I've seen. So I was looking at the Twitter thread replies and stuff like that. Frederick got involved in it. He said he did.
Why are you laughing? That's we being called Frederick.
It's a nice name.
That's classic Frederick getting in on the action.
Gunnar G got greedy, added Wrexham and Wimbledon, which were discussed.
I told you, Frederick.
Vetoed.
Avoid the new manager.
Yeah.
Do not oppose a new manager. Stupid.
CJ got involved in it. Andrew Smith as well said lovely stuff. Colin Smith had 4 teams on his shortlist pre-podcast, which were Crewe, Doncaster, Stockport and Swindon.
Those were our teams.
There we go. And imagine my delight when I was listening to the podcast. However, this morning I decided that both teams to score yes was a better option at Crewe and proceeded accordingly. As always. Next week is now, though.
Yeah. I had just one more. I had a message from a friend I went to school with, Dave. He listened to the podcast. I watched the podcast the morning of. He put the Acca on. But Dave, next time, when you put the Acca on, go to Skybet specials or go to the Sporting Life website, click on the link, you'll get an enhanced price because he put it on and built it himself, got 8-1. He would have got 11-1 on the day. So just a reminder, visit the Sporting Life site, visit the article, you get an enhanced price on there as opposed to what you get on the market.
There's Jake's corporate bullshit out the way. Should we get into this week's stuff? Because I am really eager to go after last week.
Just one more thing, though. Just want to check if Jake's had any more hate mail over the last week.
It's all gone quiet. Wrexham won, didn't they?
Yeah, I'm just having a little look and 53 comments.
Yeah.
I put my own personal money behind and put some spend and push.
Oh, that would make sense.
County and Mansfield fans
conspiring against me.
Big derby.
Yeah, especially Notts County fans really hating Jake for saying that Wrexham were the best performing home team in League Two, and then he backed Mansfield to beat Notts County. They lost 4-1 at home on Saturday. So. Have you been calling Notts County? Oh, no, it's Mansfield you've been calling.
Mansfield, yeah, the Mansfield League Two. But I did say at the start of the season,
I've been really
County
tossing off over Notts County as well, haven't you?
We've basically just gone for the 3 favourites in the division and said they're all brilliant in their own way. So we can pick
different
and choose and edit, cut away. You know, it's not a live podcast and recording, so we can just edit out and go back and change history depending on who wins the league.
Very true.
Into it then.
Let's go.
Looking to make it back-to-back after that 14-1 success last time out. Jake, you've had a tough week from, not Wrexham, but the East Midlands, Nottinghamshire area of the world. Do you want to take it over first and hit us with a potential first selection for this week's Acca?
Okay, yeah. All the goodwill that I have built up in Nottingham has now dissipated, so I'm not welcome for a pint anymore. But
Can't go to Hooters then.
There's a brilliant pub next to the Forest Ground.
swerved Hooters. Moved on quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just pub chat before.
Anyone's free to go to whatever place they like.
No, it's brilliant. This one, I can't.
Not welcome in Nottingham.
Yeah, but you can go.
We can. When we go on a day out somewhere, when we go to Notts County, go to one next to Forest Ground. Loads of TVs everywhere. Anyway, back on track. Get back on focus.
Yep.
Jake, you were rudely interrupted there.
That's what I brought it on myself. Charlton at home to Reading looks a potential banker. We're at 19 to 20 as best price at the moment. They're unbeaten under Michael Appleton, playing fairly well. They held a good Stevenage side, beat Wickham and Exeter, and obviously Wickham are improving. Exeter also, we like them as a team. I think they're probably going to finish top half. And then they drew with Blackpool, I think are on the up. I think they're getting things together, creating more chances. So the results have been good against half-decent teams. And yeah, the last 4 matches, I know it's a small sample size, but they rank as the 6th best side based on expected goals in the entire league. The same sample, Reading have lost 3, drawn 1, sit 4th bottom on the data. And so far, Reading have got the worst away record in the division. They're yet to pick up any points. Even Cheltenham have managed more points away from home than Reading. And it's no surprise given the underlying process that they put up, just under 1 expected goal for per game, conceding 1.7 expected goals against per game. So it seems like a Charlton team trending in a very strong direction under a new coach, and a Reading team who they picked up a couple of good results, haven't they? But most of them have come at home, obviously really, really poor away. So Charlton were the first team, probably my strongest fancy of the week.
I'd agree with that. Charlton were down for me. I kind of looked at the price maybe Sunday or Monday when I was half doing a bit of early looking at the weekend card, and the price hasn't changed a drastic amount to put me off. Joe, thoughts, Charlton? I know we kind of spoke about them and Appleton, it seems, recently, but I'm all on board with this one.
Yeah, so I got Charlton down, and I like it price mainly. So 6 games, 1-3, drawn 3, all comps for Appleton at home, looking good. 3-1 over Wickham, 4-1 over Exeter, and then 2-2 against Blackpool. Just for full clarity, it was 2 really late goals to get that draw against Blackpool. So they did just about get out of jail in that one. The one thing with Reading, so I'm not saying I'm not for having it in. I'd kind of just like to not have it locked in and see whether there are 4 or 5 of the ones that we really like. That they have been shocking. I'm not going to say they haven't. They have been absolutely shocking. Lost every away game. Won 1 in 7 in the league. But the fact that they can just win by 4 or 5 goals in these trophy matches, and then they can beat good teams at home unexpectedly, it's just the fact that they're so unpredictable in that way that it just gets me slightly edgy. So that is why it's not one that I would have down as I'm absolutely certain, and the fact that Charlton have drawn a few. So that's why I had it down as I still like it price mainly. But if there were other ones I'd feel more comfortable about because they just seem like a really wild team this year, Reading. You could see them winning a match and then losing 5-0 the next game. It's not like they're being just consistently bad every week.
But is this not the EFL Trophy? Are Reading not in a weird way a beneficiary of that in that they've got such a small squad? Everyone else you can now get away with rotating a fair bit in this tournament when you've got such a small squad, everyone's just binning this tournament off.
Yeah, but it's
in this competition, and Reading are just putting out a team that, frankly, they haven't got a great deal to work with. It's young players who are playing in the league anyway, because again, there's not a great deal of chance to do it. And don't get me wrong, when you have got 14 goals in your first 2 games, of which a 9-0 win and a 5-0 win, there's a lot of credit involved in that, of course. But when you're able to put first-team players out against youngsters of opposition, it's only ever going to go.
Yeah, we're not just talking about that though, because if you go through Reading's results in like non-league games, then 4-0 away at Millwall, 2-2 at home to Ipswich, then 9-0 away at Exeter. So those 2 are in the League Cup. And then the 9-0 away at Exeter in the EFL Trophy, 5-0 at home to Swindon in the EFL Trophy. And then the other ones that just do make me slightly uncomfortable, beating Bolton at home, who are a team that we really like only a couple of weeks ago. and it is just the uncertainty element of it.
Bolton we're 1-0 up and then got reduced to 10 men, so there's caveat to that.
And it was at home.
Yeah,
There's a big home away with Reading.
That's the thing. I mean, look at the teams they've played away from them and lost. Like, none of these teams would scream big team. Like, lost at Port Vale. Exeter, we talked about, okay. Lost at Cambridge. Lost at Blackpool, who would just still find themselves. Lost at Northampton. Lost at Leyton Orient. Like, they've not actually played a good schedule, and they've lost all these matches. I'm not saying Charlton are going to light the world on fire and finish in the top 6, but I think that they are more of a top 8, top 9 kind of calibre team, especially with some of the signings they've made in the summer and the way they're starting to look under Appleton. That I feel very confident about them beating this Reading team.
I think,
have you got anything?
I was going to say there's no science to this, but it does feel like when you're in a club, science. There is literally no science, but it always feels like, and it's never like just simply saying a manager going, we have to win our home games, it doesn't matter about the away games. But when you're in a tricky situation as such, is it not a case of you place so much importance, in this case on games at the Majeski, where you've got your own fans in front of you, and away from home, it's almost like the pressure, I don't know if it's there more or they're not, but you know what I'm kind of saying, when you've got difficulties surrounding the club, you know the majority of points just have to come at home, and you'll almost accept just a dire away record because you need fans to keep turning up and you need to get points, and that's where you're going to get them. So for me, I'm just focusing purely on Reading's away performances in the league in games that matter. Jim Rod, you've been quiet. Any thoughts?
Yeah, I was just wondering, do you know when you just said science then? Yeah. Natural Libre reference.
No, it wasn't actually.
No, it's just
good movie though, mate.
It was just the word
movie.
science, I'll be honest.
Look at this.
Science.
That was on TV
believe
not
in
too long
science.
ago, and I've not seen
Look
that
at
film in a
disappointment on
long,
your
long
face
time.
there. Sorry to let you down, mate.
No, but it's a bit of a niche one, isn't it? Not everyone's a fan of it.
Some people will get it.
Love it. I get
Push it to. We'll get George to promote that to people who like the Nacho Libre Facebook page and stuff like that, so they'll get involved.
Like a bit of wrestling.
Anyway, Charlton Reading. Any thoughts on it?
Yeah, I think what Joe was saying about the results in the cup competition is absolutely irrelevant.
You had us in the first half. Not gonna lie, we'll go with that one. I thought you were gonna say
I thought you was. Yeah.
But I'm a big fan.
What's it matter?
Everything
Talking about a league game.
Cup wise, there are so many factors that go into it.
Yep. And the other thing is, I noticed it when my beloved Sheffield United went down to League One. It's a bit of a shock to the system. You know, playing away at these grounds that you've never been to. You know, it's a completely different kettle of fish to the Championship. And I think that's reflected in their away form. And I haven't really got anything to add on what you two said. I completely agree. And they were top of my list. I want them in.
I think three of us towards the top of the list.
That's the
What are
vote.
we saying?
Well, I'm happy
sit out
to circle back.
Is democracy going to prevail, or do you want to circle back to it? I think it's going to end up in at some point.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. It's not that, like I said, it is on my list. I just wouldn't have had it as I definitely want to have this in early on because of the reservations.
Well, if it's near even money-ish, I know it's not, but you're pushing that way. Do you just want to go back to it and add it later on when we've added some 1 to 2 picks and then go from there?
Or you can put it in if you want, and then just won't forget to take it out if it feels like we got two really
right. I'm
nice
going
ones
to
at
make
the
an
end.
objective decision.
Go on.
3 to 1. That's how
Put it in.
democracy
Go on.
works. Our first pick, potentially, of this week's Acca with a little asterisk next to it is Charlton at home to Reading. Current price is 5 to 6 on this one. We like the price. And just to get away from the the kind of Acca debate and stuff like that, to get the brains going again, I've got another quiz question for everyone. I had to run this by the office because I don't know how easy these are going to be. I'm like, I don't know if this is something everyone's going to know. Premier League returns this weekend. I've got a nice, simple one for you this week. Who is the oldest outfield player to have ever appeared in a Premier League match? No answers until the end, even if you do know it. I think he played for 9 clubs during his playing career. That's going to be the first clue that I will give you. Okay? Just stew on that. And for now, Charlton, hopefully, are the first team or the first pick in this week's Acca.
One thing we've all got in common is having that one leg of an Acca let us down. From spending your winnings in your head to cursing that last-minute equaliser that broke your heart. But it doesn't have to be that way. Acca Freeze from Sky Bet gives you the power to freeze a winning score early. Even if that team goes on to lose, Sky Bet will settle it as a winner. It's time to take action. It's time to Acca Freeze and end the game your way. Visit skybet.com for full terms and conditions. Okay, number 1 pick for me this week is Oxford.
I had them written down yet.
won last 5 in the league, won 9 of the last 10. I know that Blackpool have got a bit better lately. So Blackpool, they've won 1, drawn 2, lost 2 away from home, though. And we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, I think. It was on one of the pods that Gab Sutton was on. And he wanted to have Blackpool in, and I was there for that 1 win away at Barnsley, and there were no great shakes. There were lots of circumstances for why they won that match.
Barnsley can't play against half decent teams at home, can they? At the minute,
It was just mainly a team selection thing.
Right.
And they had that was their only shot on target of the game was a penalty. It was their first goal they scored away from home this season. So I'm very willing to look beyond that. But it's just mainly Oxford. They've just been superb. Won 9 of the last 10 in the league. They're 10-11. They just look well overpriced to be winning this match, and that is it from me.
Yeah,
I have it. So
I have it as well. From a data perspective, Oxford 4th in the XG table. They played a game less than a couple of teams above them, so on a per game basis, they're second. Home process is strong. There's a lot to like, and as you said, Blackpool, they beat Stevenage at home last week. But I don't know if everyone's seen the shocking refereeing decision. They were 1-0 up. Stevenage had a goal ruled out when the player was blatantly onside. You can even see from the replay, and it's not even like along the line, but you can tell from the angle of the camera that it was clearly onside. That would have made it 1-1 going into half time. And Stevenage kind of just lost their heads after that. And Steve Evans lost his head in the interviews afterwards. What a surprise there. So I'm not obviously they went away and won that 3-0, 3-1. But yeah, there's definitely a little bit of an asterisk to that in the sense that went their way. I just wanted to ask you, Joe, because obviously you mentioned that Blackpool went to Barnsley and won. You've also seen Oxford win at Barnsley. Like you've got first-hand experience of both of those teams. Like, is it clear to you that Oxford are far superior in terms of the way in which they go about things?
Yeah, I mean, it's only one game that you've seen a team live, so I wouldn't want to read too much into it. Oxford did just look like a very well functioning, put together team. I think Jimmy was at the Barnsley Oxford game as well.
Oxford there as well.
And honestly, Barnsley are a solid litmus test for opposition, but I think there'll be more of one from now because both of those games, then Oxford and Blackpool both benefited hugely from incorrect team selections from the Barnsley manager that he's only beginning to work out now. So I believe that Barnsley have probably got one of the best centre backs in the league now. But on his debut,
what's his name?
That was his debut as well.
Givney, that's him.
They started him right centre back, and he ended up getting taken off after 35 minutes, and he should have been sent off. And that is what clinched the game, him giving a penalty away. Oxford then just sat back and played on the counter-attack. But they did look like a really good team. Blackpool, similarly, they got a penalty in exactly the same position, exposing Barnsley on that right-hand side, except they've been trying another way of selecting the team, and it's because they had the wrong player playing on the right-hand side of midfield, and he only seems to have worked it out just now how to put his team together. And the games were very similar, except that Blackpool just never really looked great, and Barnsley were really poor. So Oxford looked streets ahead of Blackpool, and Barnsley still should have won that game. They missed a hatful of chances. Wasn't the case against Oxford.
I have no issue with it. I say I've got this one written down. I think Blackpool. I think if it's the other way around, it's at Blackpool Road. No, but away from home, I don't think they've been particularly great as they have at home. Any thoughts, Jim? I mean, it's 21-20 the price currently on Sky Bet for this. That's
crazy. It's drifted, yeah.
I don't get it.
I thought that would be around 5-6 as Charlton, who we've discussed, are against Reading. The double goes to 2.75-ish to 1. It's a good one. Again, I'm always wary of just going for the first two that we say, but the first two are typically the strongest ones, and I like this a lot.
I think it's been a massive overreaction to Blackpool beating Stevenage 3-0. It's interesting that that's happened in the market, because when I was making the notes yesterday, it was best price 10-11 for Oxford to win, and it has gone on the drift in the last few hours. But like Twitter was going crazy about them winning this game 3-0 and saying, Critchley's got them going. They're going to be as good as they were when they were last in League One. Stevenage are no brilliant team in that division, and the circumstances that Jake's explained, I really like Neil Critchley, and I've talked about it before a couple of times, but it's just a huge overreaction to one result, and then the other games they've picked up. I mean, the previous home game, they lost 3-1 at home to Derby. Let's just have a big breath and some context.
Jimmy's shaking his head, though.
Stevenage aren't a brilliant side.
All right.
Oh,
Just
team we're not even discussing.
just because he loves Steve Evans.
No.
Is he one of the wrestling figures, by the way?
I'd love to find him.
There's Warnock.
I don't know if they've got enough
what they call
plastic
soccer
to
slammers.
make him.
You've got.
Oh dear.
Go on.
Yeah, I just find it a little bit odd, Joe, how you can stick up for Reading and not stick up for Blackpool.
No, I'm not sticking up for Reading, mate. I'm just saying Reading make me nervous.
Blackpool make me nervous, to be honest. Like, I was at the Oxford game at Oakwell and I wasn't convinced. I just thought it was a circumstantial win. But I haven't watched any of Oxford. I ain't got any notes, so I'm happy to go with the flow. And that's not me distancing myself from this pick. But when I looked through the fixtures, I thought, I don't really want to be backing against Blackpool. That's just what I thought.
Yeah, I think. Again, Blackpool are a bit.
Fucking hell, we're gonna have two.
Blackpool are
We're
one
gonna
of
have
these
two
teams.
selections in here where we're like,
I'm going to back this
we've
up.
got them
here.
in, but we're like, oh shit.
I'm going to back this up here that Blackpool are one team that for no logical reason I always go, oh, I don't know really if I want to back against them. The fact is that at the start of the season, when you looked at League One, which I think everyone was in agreement, and it's the fact that Derby was such a short price favourite to win League One, nobody knew how League One was really going to play out. We all had some guesses. I've got Burton, who are coming good. Now that's a runner at 66s.
I've got Oxford, by the way.
Though.
Yeah.
Oxford were another team that people were backing. There was, a big belief that the summer of change was going to be significant in their chances. They've won 9 league games.
9
this
out of
season.
11. Yeah.
9 of the last 10 matches.
Yep.
Everything is coming good, and we're saying at home, at odds against a team who have not travelled well this season. If it was the other way around, then we'd be questioning it. It's a price thing it's a massive price thing for me. It bumps it up. I'd expect this to be around that Charlton 5-6, Bolton. Sorry if someone's going to mention it, 3-4 against Northampton. I'd expect it to be around that. This is a price anomaly.
Big Stockport last week vibes here.
You
Overpriced, yeah.
son of a
big-
bitch, I'm in.
Oh
Yeah, I mean, you just convinced me that.
Let's take it.
Come in.
Let's take it. Go on. We're all in agreement with this, aren't we?
I think at that price, it's got to go in.
It's got to go
It
in.
should be odds on.
Well
It's a
done.
nice single anyway. If you don't like it in the Acca, it's just a nice one to back as a single if you're not too sure.
Really big of you, that. Well done.
If you're not sure, you get your 5, just freeze it. They go 1-0 up, bam. No worry about it. You don't have to panic, do you? So there we go. We'll take it then. League One, all League One affairs so far. We've got Charlton, we've got Oxford, we've got 2 home teams that are 2.76 to 1 at the time of recording, which is now. Back to my quiz question, because I saw it. Saw Jimmy's little face. It was kind of intrigued him, didn't it? Who is the oldest outfield player to have ever appeared in a Premier League match? I've told you he played for, I think, 9 clubs during his playing career, and he was capped over 50 times by his national team as well. There's your 2 clues. Jake's typed out a potential answer on his laptop. I'm not engaging with it.
You saw it.
Not acknowledging anything whatsoever, like a game of poker. Keeping my face straight so I don't give anything away. They're your 2 clues in the Acca. As we've said, Charlton and Oxford. We'll discuss the third pick next.
I was thinking Ryan Giggs at first, but I was
Not giving it away yet.
Sharp.
yeah.
See, I thought this would be an obvious one, but turns out it's not.
No.
I didn't think it was obvious, but it's one of these things.
Jake's got it.
Has he?
Yeah, he's got it. I'm very confident about it.
Yeah.
Um,
I've got a couple suggestions.
Can we talk Sky Bet Championship, please? We didn't have it last week. I've missed it. Has anyone got any championship games we can discuss? I haven't. I'll just jump in on the conversation.
I ain't got all.
I have.
Come on, Jim Rotters.
Foxes at Swansea, 3-4.
Oh, no.
Back to League One.
No.
Not the way Swansea are
Not
trapped.
that on its head straight away.
No chance. What if they won 4 in a row, Swansea? I ain't got it on notes, but yeah, no
It was
way.
in my medium column.
I'm gonna.
I can't believe you had this at 3-4 in a meet.
I was about to say 3-4. I was gonna ping this out. Yeah, no chance.
Sure.
Well, you've lost it there, mate.
I'll see you no chance and raise you Leicester a point away from the best ever championship start.
Yeah,
There's
no way this is going in. So let's move on.
Fine, I've got a couple more for you from the championship. This one's a bit left field. If you didn't like the last one, you're gonna hate this one. Hull 9-5 against Southampton.
I don't hate that one as much.
I
as
hate
Leicester.
it. I hate it just as much.
No,
Hull have
no,
drawn
no.
nearly every single home game this
fine.
season.
Yeah,
How many
well-
home games they drawn? Tell me. All of them except one, I think. I think they've won one home game and drawn all the others.
Yeah, but if what's his name, Traore didn't have the miss of the century against Leeds, that's a win. So that's
Well, I mean, Rutter went hold my beer.
Yeah, I've completely ignored the first half of that game and the annihilation that happened at one side of the pitch. I don't like it as an Acca, I like it as
You
a
just
single.
put in Google,
That's
how
my
many
fault.
home games have Hull drawn?
You nailed it. 1 win, 4 draws.
Yeah, and Southampton, how have they turned it around?
Don't
last few
care.
games?
Oh, have they turned a corner though? Have they?
Oh, we can pass the ball around a bit.
Yeah.
Grow
I'm
up.
just not having Russell Martin. The reason I put it in is immediately it struck me Hull 2-1 generally, 95 with Sky, large at home. And Liam Rosenior is such a coy manager, a lot of draws, but that's just because he's so sound defensively.
He just likes to draw.
I don't think
He's just so nice. He don't want anyone to lose.
Liam Draw Senior. Get
It's
it in
not
there.
on the complete love scale of this podcast, but I know Rossini's a positive, favourable manager.
What is it, man, as well, isn't he?
Is it- is
He's
it-
just someone who can always be
Is it going in the pod, this?
I'll have
In the
that.
pod?
I'll have
In the Acca?
This is on the pod. It's in the pod. You
Is it
can't
going in the
remove it.
Acca?
Last
No.
one.
It won't go in, but I will take that as a single.
The 1-0 win at Leicester, the only team to beat Leicester.
Yeah, where's this game
Hull.
being played?
Leicester
Well, I'm just...
in power.
It's at
Next.
Hull, but
I like we're doing this. You flawed your own. Leicester.
Sorry, Jim, but
Right,
it's a little bit big for an
I've
Acca.
got last one. I've got 2 more from the Championship. I'll just reel
Jesus
them off
Christ, how many
quickly.
you got?
so many games.
These are all from medium to medium rare column. Huddersfield at QPR.
Two
No,
bad teams.
sorry.
What? They're odds on.
Two bad teams. No chance.
How bad at QPR though?
How bad at Huddersfield?
Go on, round us off.
Last one, West Brom at home to Plymouth.
I don't trust West Brom.
I'd have more of that, but I wouldn't trust them.
West Brom are 8-11 to beat QPR. I mean, to beat Plymouth, aren't they?
Yeah.
Too short.
Yeah, the only one I had down the Championship, but I'm not. It's
The West
just a
Brom one,
talking
actually,
point.
give an explanation for that one.
Oh, go on.
I don't
No,
want
I'm happy just to reel through them like this.
West Brom
Yeah,
is
you're not having it.
the West,
ackerable.
yeah, the
I
West
will
Brom
give you that.
one, I would say, is the one that I put as like an orangey. Do you know, like orange card?
Yep.
Yeah, you've seen them given.
Yeah, the other one, the other ones, I'm like, what you been drinking? But the West Brom one, then go for it if you want to give an explanation for that. To still get told no. But go on.
The dear listener.
Yeah. Since Coburn took charge, they're good at home.
You know what? I remember you've said this to us before, actually.
Yeah,
Exactly
20,
like that.
20
Basically.
games at the Hawthorns, 3 losses. First one
How
against
many- how
the
many draws?
Blades, hours after he took charge. Don't matter about draws, does it? Because Plymouth,
Plymouth.
formidable
Argyle.
at home, aren't they? Unbelievable at home. Although not very much recently. Lost the last
That's
2.
dipped off
But
a bit as
away from home, yeah, they're bad. Away from home, they're bad. And the home form's falling away. So I don't think they've won any of the last 3 off the top of my head.
Didn't
Not been travelling
Bristol
well.
City put 4 past Plymouth at home.
That was a very much
Against Argyle.
changed Plymouth team.
Yeah, but like,
7 changes. they
Bristol
made.
City are having 4 shots a game, so
Yeah.
that says a lot about them and kind of their away form.
They
At the
drew
moment
at
for
Hull,
Argyle.
though, didn't they?
Everyone's drawing at Hull. That's what we've established.
I'd be wary about West. I know it's not all about the underlying data, but the data doesn't paint a great picture for West Brom as being like a top 6 contender. They sit in the bottom half, 17th best home process in the league this season. So
I had a quid for every time you mentioned data. I wouldn't have to do this podcast. Would I?
you say that like we pay you to do this podcast. Jim.
What, you guys are getting
Love of the
paid?
game.
I can't get a grip on West Brom.
Yeah,
that would be
they're
the thing with me, because they, what did they win, 4-0 at Preston? I think it was. Either 3 or 4-0.
They're better than Preston.
When Preston had,
Yeah.
were unbeaten or had won every game.
It's great past Wednesday after.
And then I watched them against Birmingham on the telly, and they were dog shit.
Yeah.
So,
All 4 of them championship sides were in my medium rare column, but I just thought I'd tell you them.
Huddersfield went to West Brom and won a couple of weeks ago as well. So
As Warnock's
Yeah.
Huddersfield, different animal, isn't it?
I know,
Different
yeah.
Animal.
yeah.
Classic Warnock.
Yeah, I have question marks about them. The only other one from the Championship is I think Birmingham look opposable this weekend. I know they've got a new manager which puts people off, and it probably will not make the Acca. But they're playing a Middlesbrough team who are vastly improved, and they're performing like a top 6 team based on the data. The results are looking to turn the corner. It's at Middlesbrough. I wouldn't put anyone off backing them, but I don't think, with the uncertainty around Birmingham, I don't think we're going to include it.
I know. I think I know Birmingham will be bad under Rooney.
Yeah.
They can't surely keep up the way that Houston had them going. But again, it's that, like I said, it's the uncertainty. I don't know what to.
Tell us what you really think.
Truly, they could actually turn around and they're actually quite good. Fair play.
Yeah.
It was a good squad. I think I know what it is, but I think Birmingham Sky Bet have got them at evens not to win any of their first 3 games under Rooney. So who knows what's going to happen with that one?
Yeah.
So let's get back to the lower leagues.
What about Premier League? I forgot there's Premier League. Does anyone have a Premier League one? No.
I do.
Medium rare.
Just on the Rooney thing, have you that Birmingham schedule now? It's
Borough
very,
away.
very hard. 5 or 6 really tough games, and you just
Hull maybe coming up.
wonder what the hell are they doing at that club? Because a combination of things. One, if they really wanted to get rid of Eustace, wait till the form drops off against these better teams, and then it seems like a more justifiable reason rather than when they're flirting with the playoff positions. And they're going to bring Rooney in now, give him a really tough start, probably going to pick up no points, and then the noise is going to get even bigger about they shouldn't have got rid of the manager to get Rooney in. Complete idiocy.
If you want a short-term valuation by the bookmakers, Sky Bet have got Rooney's at Birmingham to give them their full name. Middlesbrough away, Hull at home, Southampton away are his first 3 championship fixtures. They are 40-1. 40-1 to win those 3. It's the same price to back them, or it was, to get promoted from the Championship this season and then stay up in the Premier League next year. Wow. That's how unfancied they are.
Don't waste your money.
Short term.
It's just Gianfranco Zola Mark II, isn't it? It's exactly the same as what happened a few years ago when Rowett
Zola.
Yeah, and then ended up with Harry Redknapp keeping him up in the.
We're getting nowhere here, Acca-wise. Jim Rod had a medium rare Premier League one. I want to hear it before we delve back to our safety.
Did you hear Gianfranco Zola talking about?
I was just about to say that.
Drinking from his mum's.
Do you know what?
His mum is milk.
That is
20.
Yes.
brilliant summary of how likeable this England team are as well.
Oh my God.
Had the most just genuine reaction ever to it.
Oh dear.
Everyone
very
watches.
odd.
Like, not literally. I don't mean literally. I mean some people do go a bit longer than they should really, don't they, with the breastfeeding, but you know.
He sat there patiently with his arms folded away.
judgment.
It was his medium rare Premier League fancy. Get back on Acca track.
This isn't medium rare, babe. This is strong.
Tea.
Well done.
Go on.
Brentford 3-4. Burnley.
No.
It's just him.
Are we going to delete him from this podcast? That is
What?
absolutely shocking.
Are you winding me up?
No.
Burnley are pants.
Brentford have been terrible this season.
They're in a false position. League table's lying.
You like the
Any
underlying
idiot
data
will
now,
tell
do
you
you?
that. Any idiot will tell you that. In this one, yeah. Yeah, I'd have them in the top half based on the underlying data.
Looked at the underlying data. Are you just chucking that phrase out?
No, I have, yeah. Opta, it's in an article by Opta. Superb read. Yeah. But
I think I do, but I
let me just Burnley, they got promoted with 101 points, scored the most goals, played expansive, possession-based football. Lovely stuff. But they haven't adapted to the Premier League. They're still playing open, expansive, possession-based football, and they're just getting ripped to shreds. I think company's too slow to adapt. And I think Brentford have been massively unfortunate to be as low as they are. We, funnily enough, we actually rated Burnley very highly in our pre-season ratings. But higher than Everton, Bournemouth, Forest, Sheffield United and Luton, but they're just not adapting to the jump up in stature.
To their credit, Burnley, though, their home games so far are Tottenham, Man City, Villa, Man United, Chelsea. Away from home, they lost at Newcastle, but they drew at Nottingham Forest and they beat Luton as well. Brentford are down in that area of the table.
Yeah, but they shouldn't be. And beating Nottingham Forest and Luton, is that what you just said?
Drew with Forest.
Drew with Forest, beat Luton.
They're the only 2 games
That's
you
what I mean,
look
if
at and be like, they're winnable.
If you're thinking of the teams that have started well, they've played everyone. Well, not everyone, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of their games have been against teams currently in the top 11.
Yeah.
I get
Five of the big 6.
I get you've got to adapt,
7.
but obviously you look at the Man United game as well, who they're not great, but that could have been a different result there as well.
I think at the
I don't
price
like
we just
Brentford.
move on.
Too short.
Yeah,
Gonna say,
I'm generally whenever Brentford are at home, I do like them, but I think that price is a little short given what we've seen so far.
Price up punts, medium rare
Sure.
to strong picks of their own little separate Acca, and we could go head to head this week. We'll go with that. Back to the safety and entertainment of League 1 and League 2 instead. Jake, come on. Let's get a team we can include. We've dismissed 5 or 6 of Jim Rod's selections there. Let's get one I want that we can have
8.
get stuck into.
When are you going to suggest one?
My 2 were agreed.
He only had 2.
Oh,
Yeah.
Well, I kind of go with the flow on this thing. I did no notes last week, and it's one, so I'm very superstitious.
I'll throw in.
I can't have more than 2 notes.
I'll throw in one. We've talked about the team already a little bit. We've talked about the manager a little bit. It's Stevenage at home to Port Vale. Now,
They're rubbish, according to him.
yeah, they're not rubbish. Stevenage are a good football team, and as we've discussed, they are very unfortunate to have not been 1-1 at half time against Blackpool.
It's just scrunched up.
8th best team in the league based on underlying data, 6th best at home. They've already played the top 2 as well at home, which kind of says that data is still very strong. And as we said with Port Vale, we went into, I can't remember which game it was that they ended up losing. It was Burton. And I said that their underlying data would catch up with them because the performances weren't good. The results were basically flattering. And since then, they're winless in the league. 5 without a winning total, lost 4. They rank as the 6th worst team, in League One on the underlying data, and the 6th worst away team. So conceding 1.6 expected goals against per game. It's a team that's had a bit of regression, that have come back to earth a little bit in terms of results agreeing with the data and the performances. And Stevenage are a very strong home team that I want to get on side. So there's my pitch.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I don't have too much issue with it. I think they're 2 iffy teams in form. Joe's face is going at a weird kind of lower half scrunch, upper half scrunch.
We're getting 19 to
I don't
20. I
get
think that's a
quite-
good price.
I just think Stevenage have dropped off.
I don't know. Their
Yeah.
form's not been as great as it has, but then at home they've been all right. They obviously, I know it was 1-0, but it could have been more against Wigan, having kind of seen bits of that game.
Yeah, the other games around that, they conceded 3 times in all games. So they conceded 3 at home to Oxford, 3 away at Bolton, 3 away at Blackpool.
I mean, you've named 2 of the pre-season favourites there.
No, but those games existed still.
I know, but they're good teams. It wouldn't be surprised if most of the league went and lost, conceded 3 to Oxford.
And if we just went back a little while further, so where it just begins to drop off. So, I mean, I can name the fixtures, or just go through the results. If we go through the results in the league, then draw, win, loss, win, loss. And that's where it's just too much inconsistency for me. And I know I might have been harsh on them earlier, but they're still a newly promoted team. And it'd take a little bit of adaptation, and they might make a run for it and be decent top 6, top 8. But they're still a newly promoted team for me, and it's too short.
No. We can all sit and read.
All here and sit on either side of the fence.
I'll
to be
sit
fair.
and read.
I can see both.
Soccer base. I'm doing it right now. The former soccer base. The Stevenage edge is that they're a newly promoted side. They're horrible to play against. What will happen with Stevenage is they'll surprise a lot of teams in the first half of the season, up until Christmas. We'll see the slump in the second half of the season, but not now. I agree with Jake. The regression recently, Oxford, Bolton, Blackpool, I rate all 3 of those teams very highly. They are well equipped to deal with big Steve Evans' tactics.
What about Carlisle and Charlton at home, though, before that? So Carlisle at home, 2-2. Charlton at home before they started Dean Oldham, 1-1.
Too long ago.
I'd say that might have been... I'd have to check that. I think that's Michael Appleton. But 2 draws at home against those 2 teams who are middling and poorer League One teams.
Yeah, I mean, the Carlisle one's a freak because Carlisle had 2 shots
I
in the entire game.
would have guessed.
And scored 2
Carlisle
goals.
had basically no chances in that game, knowing what
Look at
was
the state of that. 2 shots, 2 on target, 0.2
2
expected
shots in
goals,
that
and managed to
Yeah,
score
have you seen the
twice.
draw against Charlton as well?
Same.
1 shot on target, 1 goal, penalty, 90th minute.
There you go. So there's a lot of caveats to those draws that you just mentioned there.
This is
I
the
think this is
problem,
great.
Joe, when you
Great
just
price.
read soccer-based form, you don't get into all the weeds about what's actually happened.
Yeah,
Yeah, Joe.
I looked at this yesterday, and there's just no way I can put it up there with the other ones that we're going to include as, I feel really confident about this. It's a banker for an Acca.
Why don't we come back to that? Why don't we just now all just shake hands and let's put Stockport in to beat Grimsby. Let's get a 3rd selection in.
Cheers,
let's nail
mate.
one down.
There we go.
And then we've just got one. We can all come back and revisit what we want to do with that
But
one.
why do you want to put Stockport in?
So
Because they're considerably better than Grimsby.
Oh, yeah.
So I'll
Do you want to give some detail?
Yeah,
on
I'll
this
throw
one?
back to our Grimsby correspondent in a minute, but it's a pretty simple one. It's no different to last week, really. Stockport now won 8 straight games, the top of the league. They're playing 18th place in the league. Have won 1 in 9, 2 in 13. It's 4-7. It should be shorter. Last week, then I know we spent ages pissing around over Stockport at 5-6. They went off at shorter than 1-2 with some bookies. This is still happening with Stockport. That Jimmy's point about Stevenage will regress in the second half of the season. The Stockport point that I was making last week is that I actually think the price is just way behind. I can't believe that it's still happening, that they're not being priced at the same level as Notts County Wrexham. It's just not happening like Thursdays, Fridays in the week. And last week was the first time where there seemed to be a big rush on them in the final 24 hours before kickoff, which is why backing with our enhanced price genuinely does make a big difference, and why our 14-1 Acca went off at 11-1. So that Stockport price, I would highly doubt will still be there by kickoff.
Yeah, sexy Stockport. It's simple, isn't it? Stockport are right good, and Grimsby are rubbish on the road. Yeah, this has got to go in on it.
And just a note, obviously we've got XG now on Sporting Life. Anyone who's seen the Harrogate Stockport XG will see that Harrogate actually won the XG battle. But
having said I didn't fancy Stockport last week, I'll pinpoint the XG.
But there's a lot of
no more discussion
needed.
points on the XG in that game. We move on.
Stockport 3-0 up, and then Harrogate won a penalty, which accounts for 0.8 of their 1.4 expected goals. So it does inflate their XG total and kind of sways it. And probably doesn't tell the full picture of how the game actually went, which is Stockport in cruise control, foot off the gas, penalty, and bumps everything up and makes it look like it shouldn't have been as dominant as victory it was. But it should have, and Stockport are brilliant, so get them in.
Yeah, that's just it. The kind of loud questions about Hurst now at Grimsby, which have really become prevalent. It's the same thing, particularly the Accrington game last time out. I mean,
yeah, Tom, as a Grimsby fan, are you worried about relegation?
Having been mates of a Grimsby fan and tags onto them, I'm going to watch them next Saturday, so I'll give you another update freshly on that when they go to Doncaster. Again, it's just the complaints are kind of the same mistakes are happening time and time again, the same selection issues, certain players. I mean, Luke Waterfall got selected last week, got sent off for 2 yellow cards. There is just a bit of a feeling that potentially they could be a sleepwalk into the bottom two. I don't think they'll go down. There are definitely worse teams than them, but it's not quite that aggressive kind of, how to put it, hard-working, maybe. I'm not saying that they're not working hard, but there's just not that almost spark there. I think, Hurst has shown in one-off games that they can be good, but that's more cup games. That's why they had a good cup run last year. That's why they'll probably go to Slough, is it, in the cup, and just get that job done, despite it being the obvious cup banana skin, because that's what he does. And in the league at the moment, it's not going well. I mean, I brought it to the table, but Stockport getting a whole 2-point bump on the Acca, near 5-1 as a treble on this one.
What is the Acca? I've lost track.
Yeah, I was going to say, I was just about to recap
It's this thing that we do every week.
Yeah.
We sit around and talk bollocks, and then
We've got Charlton to beat Reading. We've got Oxford to beat Blackpool. We've got Stockport to beat Grimsby. Let's lock those three in, please, because I want to get to fourth selection because we're going on forever. Happy.
Nearly lunchtime.
It is nearly lunchtime and we're getting hungry. 3 home teams. That's our Acca so far. I want to remind you of the quiz question as well, in case you forgot it at the episode. Who is the oldest outfield player to have ever appeared in a Premier League match, I should say. He played for 9 clubs, I believe, during his playing career. He was capped over 50 times by his national team. And come on, this is really pushing you towards the answer. He was a part of Manchester United's treble-winning side in 1999. There you go. Come on, let's get fourth selection nailed down then. We've debated long and even longer on potential picks that we haven't included. We've got Charlton, we've got Oxford, we've got Stockport. Jim Rod.
What's me? I've got nothing left. I've got nothing.
Joe, you can go then. I bought Stockport last time. You've been very...
You visiting your man crush by any chance?
You've not been negative, but you've been very hesitant.
Caveatish.
Hesitant with selections so far. So
Sure.
I want to... These two are on their own little thing at the moment, aren't they? Yeah. I want one that you're wholeheartedly behind and you can really get into.
Yeah. What do we need to get to 10-1?
Right. Let me look. If you can chuck me a 10-11. Oh, a 10. If something is 10-11, it will take us right now at 10.00 to 1.
Okay.
Sky bet. If you can hit me with a 10-1-ish marker. Pre-boost, we're looking at.
Or we put Portsmouth and Mansfield in, make it a 5-fold, and that's it.
You can also go for, say, if you wanted Mansfield, which of course we're going to get mentioned in this podcast at some point. We're at 7.3 to 1. You add in a Portsmouth, you're looking at 11.76. So it's kind of completely up how we want to approach it. Do we want 2 extra teams, which of course adds a bit more jeopardy to results and stuff, or do we just want one team that we quite like the look of at a price?
Forest Green recorded their biggest ever EFL win last weekend. They'll be going to Mansfield brimming with confidence.
They also played against 10 men from 1-0 up against the Colchester. Who
And
ended up having to apologise to the fans
They
as well.
battered them for it. So
Yeah, they
there we
did,
go.
yeah.
Joe.
I can start with Mansfield if you like. I just think too short. They're shorter than 1-2. We've not put anybody in the Acca that short so far this season, and we've actually been stung quite a lot by teams so far that have been around the 1-2 mark. It's the ones that we've been looking
Who
at.
stung us? Can you remember?
Quite a few. I wish, man, you put me
It's
well on the
Champions
spot.
League one,
You've got
Arsenal,
you've got on
went
the
to
Excel.
France.
Yeah,
For a
Arsenal.
short price at 49.
Yeah, we've had
or
a
something,
couple
wasn't
though.
This is
There was so many teams
Yeah.
in that we were like,
Just the trade off of it. I
Just
just don't feel like value. Like I just don't like putting something in that short. Just don't feel like value.
this is my worry a bit because this looks like it's heading towards a short one. We've had the most success with the
Yeah.
prices.
I've got a few I can run through. So
Have you got any? How are you rating them? In a medium rare?
yeah, I know. So range of prices. I won't give like too much of an explanation because I mean if they're just going to get pied off straight away, then I won't spend a load of time on them. So Bolton 5-6 to beat Northampton at home. I know that like people have gone a little bit cold on Bolton of late. They still won 2 of the last 3, so it's not as bad as it seems like on 1-4 of the 7 home games so far this season. Northampton, away form last year in League 2, good. They've won a couple away from home, but one of them was at Cheltenham. And Exeter's the other one who've dropped off a bit, lost the other 3 away games so far. So that's like a solid price. A couple that if we wanted to bump it right up, I think Bradford are way overpriced to beat Wrexham, 9-5. Portsmouth 1-2 to beat Carlisle. I mean, Portsmouth are unbeaten in 23 league games now. Won 6 in a row, won 7 of the last 8. We probably don't get them in the Acca enough. Carlisle have stung us a couple of times, which is why we probably lean away from it. And then my last one, my team, Barnsley are 29-20 to win at Leyton Orient. If that was the other way around, I think we would be jumping off our seats. Like, oh, Barnsley are around 6-4 to beat Leyton Orient. Why are they such a big price? But Barnsley are better away from home. Won 5 in a row away. 5 wins and a draw away from home. So it's worthy of a conversation in the same way as if it was a home fixture because you might as well flip around the location for Barnsley.
I'm just going to look this up because it feels like Leyton Orient haven't beaten. They've done all right at home, but it doesn't feel like they've particularly played any top teams at the moment.
Yeah, so Leyton Orient,
They got smashed at home by Portsmouth 4-0.
There you go, Portsmouth 4-0, Stevenage 3-0. Sorry for taking your explanation here, but then it's Cambridge, Shrewsbury.
So I've got their recent form because this is the thing to be careful about with Orange. They've won 3 of 4, 4 wins and a draw, and the draw was away at Peterborough. But their wins, their last 3 wins against Shrewsbury, Reading,
Can't score.
and
Rubbish.
Carlisle.
Rubbish. Can't score.
So it does inflate their improvement in form a bit that they're against 3 poor sides. So Barnsley's price is big, all things considered.
I like Barnsley, at that price. Near 6-4 we're talking there, aren't we? We added them into the Acca. You're getting just shy of 13-ish to 1. 12.7 to 1. I like it as a pick, me, actually. That's one that completely went beyond me looking at the card. I'd probably expect them to be pushing closer to even money at that. That seems, when we look at those, Bradford I'm kind of drawn to, but it's still early days of the McDonald caretaker era. Maybe
Things will fall apart.
It's,
a bit for them
it's
soon.
Wrexham, who are a strong side.
Yeah.
I like Barnsley, me. I'd be all on board with that. At 11 to 8 currently, that's a big price for a team who have shown at home against top teams they can't replicate those against the teams we mentioned there. 3 teams who are poor, struggle to score goals. I'm well on board with Barnsley actually now.
I wasn't expecting that, to be honest, but I like it, obviously.
I just think where we're currently at, I feel more comfortable just going, actually, do you just want to put Barnsley in a team who pre-season we're saying top 6? They're in our pre-season Acca, aren't they, that we had? They're in. That's fine. I had no doubts about that. You all kind of always look at them as a title contender, and nothing in terms of results has put me off thinking that it's going to be anything like that at the moment. It's a big price. If it was anyone else, if it was, say, Portsmouth, I'm not saying that they're as good as these teams, but you think of the teams that were around them in the betting in terms of the pre-season and the results early on, would be all over them, I think. I think Barnsley are just a team that, maybe it's because one of us supports them, that we're going to be slightly more negative on them, but
The clincher for me
well on
with
the
it
board with this one.
is that if it was Barnsley at home to Leyton Orient and it was 11 to 8, I think we'd be like, get it in. We'd have it as probably one of the first selections. but they're actually better away. So why would we not have it in?
I'd take your word if you think they're better away. Then
Yeah.
I think you're going to know better than all of us, regardless of what anything says, that they're better away from home. Jimmy, you know a bit about Barnsley?
Yeah, it strikes me as Collins. We always talk about it in the office because I watch him a fair bit, and obviously you're a fan. It's like we know, not like we're experts, but we know the players longer than him, so we know almost what he should be doing to utilise the squad to the best of his ability, and it's sort of just clicking. The other thing is,
Didn't we say
they didn't play. Sorry, I was just checking. They didn't play in the international break. He's had more time to work with him, more time to learn them, for them to learn him, if you know what I mean, what he wants from him. So they'll only go from strength to strength. Leyton Orient took a late goal to beat a terrible Reading side and then edge past Carlisle. Barnsley are streets ahead of them. The last thing of why I want Barnsley in is because I don't want Bradford in.
Bradford, I don't think would go in.
I think, in terms of, I want to draw back to a line that Barnsley seems to be mentioned a fair bit on this podcast. They seem to be playing all the teams that we were talking about or trying to disregard or whatever. Joe said about 20 minutes ago that Barnsley now, or Collins now, is starting to figure out what the team is. And I think that's probably the clincher for me. If that's correct in terms of these slight selection errors. They're always going to be there. It's not perfect. No manager is. If he is starting to figure it out, they're better away from home than they are at home. I like the price of it. I'm happy just to sit back on this one and go with what people who know better about Barnsley than I do say, and sit on board. Takes us up to 12.69 to 1. It's a good price pre-boost, that.
And on that Jimmy said, then I'm pretty sure this is right, so apologies if it's not. Then Collins named the same team for the last two matches. So they won 4-0 at Cambridge and 1-0 at Exeter, and I think that's only the second time that he's done that this season, which does illustrate that he's starting to understand his team. And they have won 8 of the last 10 matches. Beyond all of it, like, it's pretty basic information. Feels like a good.
We settled on this, I think. Jake, you've been quiet. Are you happy?
Yeah,
I mean, it's 3-1 democracy wins, but
I know, but
I'll let you have a piece.
Price is massive here as well.
Like,
Big
I'll
Acca.
have that as a single as well, you know.
Yeah.
I don't care if it
that
ruins 2 bets. I'll have that as a single as well.
Something that we talk about a lot in the office is like having that first-hand knowledge of teams and like watching them week in and week out and understanding like some of the nuances that like the neutrals and the general population don't see, like the stuff about Collins and tinkering with teams and stuff like that. Like we general population wouldn't know that, so that information is really crucial, and it probably explains like why I agree with you in the sense that the price should be a bit shorter. So yeah, I'm happy to get them in, and I think you said at the start of the week that Barnsley have got a decent run of fixtures coming up, and it wouldn't be surprised to see them actually go on a bit of a run and really tee off and challenge that automatic promotion. So if we think they're going to do that, this price is not going to last for much longer.
I'm happy. We're all happy. Is that the happy fourth selection of the Acca, which currently Charlton to beat Reading, Oxford to beat Blackpool, Stockport to beat Grimsby, Barnsley away win at Leyton Orient, 12.69 to 1 pre-boost. Happy?
Let's do it.
Audio thumbs up because it's a podcast as well and not everyone's watching. We're all thumbs up on this one. There we go.
Feels so awkward.
Let's have it. It's a bit weird, isn't it? We have gone on. It feels like we've chatted away for ages there. But before we go, I want my quiz question answered. As ever, a reminder, who is the oldest outfield player to have ever appeared in a Premier League match? The clues I've given you are he played for 9 clubs, I think, during his playing career. He was capped over 50 times by his national team, which was England. He was a part of the Manchester United treble-winning side. And not only was he part of that side, I believe he scored in the FA Cup final and the Champions League final as well. I know you've got it, so I want to see if these two have it as well.
Teddy Sheringham.
Teddy Sheringham.
You got it.
It's the correct answer. You had it after clue 2. You wrote it down, showed me on the laptop. I showed no emotion whatsoever.
You did very well, poker-faced. Yeah.
Teddy Sheringham, 40 years, 272 days, playing for West Ham against Manchester City in December 2006. He didn't score in that match, but he did score 4 days earlier in a 2-1 defeat at Portsmouth, making him the oldest goal scorer in Premier League history too. There is your random trivia.
Go on, Teddy.
There you go. And the oldest player, actually, if you want it, John Burridge, 43 years, 162 days for Man City in 1995. He's now 71, I believe, and working as a goalkeeping consultant at Indian Super League club Kerala Blasters. So there's a random piece of knowledge for the day. And
Well done, John.
more importantly, this week's Acca, we are taking Charlton to beat Reading. We're taking Oxford to beat Blackpool. We've got Stockport to beat Grimsby and an away win for Barnsley at Leyton Orient. And all League 1 and League 2 affair, I should say, on this one. And as ever, please remember, keep it fun. Never bet more than you can afford. Gamble responsibly. And make sure you get in touch with us on social media. Search Sporting Life Football. You'll be able to find us that way. We will read out your comments on this. We keep getting bad at it, but we want to know what you think of our selections as well. Head to sportinglife.com/football. We've talked about the enhanced link. You'll find it there. And if you haven't already, please follow and rate us on iTunes, Spotify, or your chosen podcast provider. The Champions League is back next week, and so will we be. We'll see you on Monday.